What is happening? Uh, can you guys tell me if you can hear any music? Can you hear the music playing? Is the is the music is the music coming through? Why do I sound echoey? What is going on? Oh, it's because that's the monitor channel, isn't it? Yeah, that's the monitor channel. No, no music. All right, okay, thank you. Well, we'll get that fixed. It's all right. Apparently, I don't know what's happening. Let me just try and see if we can fix this. So you can't hear that music. Why is that? Why is that? What about if we do this? Can you hear that? Yeah, you can hear that. Excellent. All right. Well, that's working at least. Right, let me just get us back on track here. Oh, nice one, Ray J. How we all doing anyway? Ray J, Gobes, what is happening? Synchronized Souls, Patrick Jones, what is happening? Not Patrick Jones, Patrick and Jones, what is happening? Mackenstein, Shishi, Whims, XM, what is happening? So this evening, I'm sure you all are well aware of the topic this evening. It's been covered quite heavily by news outlets, by YouTube channels. And if you don't know this movie, sit back, I imagine you do. But Sound of Freedom was one that came out on July the 4th out in America and has sent waves through the world since its release. And I was saying this on Sean's channel. Sean and I have done a couple of videos on this. And hang on a second, I'm getting all kinds of madness here. Yeah, there we go. So the thing that got me with this is usually when there's a division, especially in with a topic like this, right? There's usually a split down the middle. You know, two opinions, one side saying each. And that usually reflects on social media and reflects in mainstream media. And I just don't get... Oh, some love. Thank you very much, Wims. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Just bear with me a minute here, guys, because I'm going to ramble for a minute here. So there's usually quite a strong feeling on either side. That's not been the case. The public have received this and just went bananas with what it means for Hollywood and for, you know, really putting the subject of human transportation back on the map in a major way. But what you might not know is this movie was made like 5 years ago and was bought and then suppressed by Disney, which I thought was just mad, right? Because we've seen social media streaming platforms, especially Netflix, getting into controversy with the kind of content that they've put out that seems to glamorize the subject matter of the Sound of Freedom, which I think is very peculiar. Now, why we've got one side of the media trashing Sound of Freedom. We've got, this is the main set of, I'm not allowed to say these words, okay? But these two words here, these two words, I'm not allowed to say either of them. Welcome to YouTube. This has been their main push to create a conspiracy against this movie. And of course, its creators. But when you've got individuals, young adults now, who've gone through this and were rescued, I find it very unlikely that the media is going to stick to their guns once this has happened. Now, just to put up both sides of the argument here, there's always this argument, right, of when whistleblowers whistleblow, the news outlets are off. Oh, they want to focus everything but realism. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, I think the thumbnail for this live stream, Wims puts it up, that kids shouldn't be on a menu for sale, whether it's Hollywood or anywhere. But if you've got, let's just say for a second here, you've got two sides of two different teams on two different sides of a battle here. And on one side, you've got everyone that thinks it's okay to do these things to kids, and everyone on the other team thinks it isn't. There is certainly a very large conspiracy, global conspiracy, right? To some it's conspiracy, to some it's fact, but I have to watch what I'm saying because this is YouTube. But when those individuals own media outlets and can shape narrative, and we already have explored the fact that if you tell enough people a lie often enough, most of them will believe it, and the rest of them will fight it amongst themselves and keep themselves occupied, rather than tackling the problem that's in front of them. They tend to tackle it online, shall we say. And I think it's very suspicious that a movie about human transportation and child transportation was purchased and suppressed by Hollywood, and all the fingers are now pointing at Hollywood. And I need to ask you guys, what do you guys think about that? What do you think about the possibility of this being suppressed because you don't want anybody in the club getting into trouble, so to say? Now, another person who has been very outspoken is Mel Gibson, and we're going to watch a 3-minute snippet from an interview from the 90s, and I'm pretty sure most of you will have seen this, but I think it's important for context that we sit through it again. And I just want everyone to just for a minute, just start imagining in your brain what Hollywood is to you, right? And it's important for, as we go through this stream, because towards the end, I want you to have that thought of what Hollywood is to you, and we're going to just look at some cases, shall we say? But we're going to be covering a few things in this live stream, all stemming from the sound of freedom. And what I'd like to do is just sit and watch this bit of interview from Mel Gibson. Like I say, I'm sure a lot of you will have seen this, but this is him talking directly about Hollywood in 1998.
I had a whole bunch of weird paranoid suspicions about what the hell was going on because there was a lot of stuff I couldn't understand.
Right.
And nobody was really bothering to explain it to me.
They don't.
Can I ask, can you all hear an echo? Does it sound like I'm echoing? Let me know if it sounds like I'm echoing before I continue. Just let me know. It'll take a couple of seconds for you to answer me. It does sound like I'm echoing. Okay, thank you. Right, so... Okay, thank you. Okay. Does that sound better now? How about now? Let me know. Let me know. Oh, good. Yeah, nice one. Okay, sorry about that. It's for another podcast that I do. I've got a channel that I use for monitoring stuff. So thank you very much. Let's get back to the main presentation.
You know, I had a whole bunch of weird paranoid suspicions about what the hell was going on because there was a lot of stuff I couldn't understand.
Right.
And nobody was really bothering to explain it to me.
They don't.
And and I formed a bunch of opinions about the town and about the people in it that were like, surely that couldn't be, because a whole place can't be like, you know, Weird Town, you know, where the stranger wanders in and all the people are in the bar and they all shut up when he looks at them and, and they tell you don't go into the house on the hill, and it's like that. And then you go away and you think, no, I was wrong. I mean, that's insane thinking. I'm paranoid. I imagined that stuff. That couldn't be the reason for why so-and-so was acting like, could it? And then you find out later on the track that you are exactly on track with a lot of this stuff. Not specifically on track, but that you could, that some of your worst nightmares were real at the time. And you think, no, he came to see me on a rooftop in New York.
You've got to remember, this is a fully grown man talking. And it's easy to look at an actor or somebody and kind of forget that they're talking about their own experiences. And I'm just definitely not stopping that for copyright reasons. So we're going to keep going in a second. But it's important that you keep in mind and you remember that this is him trying to express what is going on cryptically. And I apologize for that useless interject. It was for copyright reasons.
I said, hey, can I talk to you? And he said, sure. And he floated in sideways through a crowd of people. He was wearing black. And it was like one of those old vampire movies where they don't walk, but they glide. And he was a dancer, you know, so he has he's very, you know, graceful. And he moved sideways and he just sat down in a chair next to me. And it kind of frightened me. And he's a very smart guy. And we started talking, and I didn't, you know, say much of anything about reading the script, nothing. I just started talking about the Middle Ages, and he began to talk tortures. And we swapped tortures, because I'd read this book on torture, and I tried to recall some of the most heinous things I'd ever read in this book, and he was like, oh, and he'd try and top it. And and my assistant was there, and he left because he couldn't stand it anymore. The air had turned cold. And then he left, and I wanted to leave. And because I knew that I didn't want to work with him. And he was getting scary. And there's a producer I know, successful producer, I will not mention names, but his whole opinion about women on film, from beginning to end, is very brief. He says, women on film, either naked or dead. Both is better. And it's like, whoa, whoa. The man has got a spiritual malady for a start. I mean, the scary thing is that I think a lot of people think that.
So yeah, I don't know if all of you had seen the full clip. There's another couple of clips from the whole interview. I mean, the interview I think is about 32 minutes long. But Mel Gibson speaking out, there's been a lot of accusations thrown.
A billionaire New York businessman.
All right, where's the advert coming from?
That knew no limits.
All right, just relax. All right, Jesus Christ. How we doing, Kevin? How we doing, Holden? How we doing, Shoeless Joe? What is happening, Squids? E. Jones, welcome. If you haven't already, guys, make sure you're subscribed, like, share, spread the word. That would be great. The algorithm hates me. And, Paula, what is happening? Welcome, welcome. I might just, if we've got enough time at the end, I might post a link for you guys to come on and give your opinion on this. So, yeah. You've never seen that, SD. SD, thank you very much as well for your comments and your kindness over the last week as well. It's been much appreciated. So, again, I'm trying, it's so difficult. It's so difficult not to go off on rants. But I can't do it because of YouTube. I can't. So, you know, smashing its target of 2 million at the box office. I think it's now at 12 million or something crazy. Let me just check my facts here. 13 million. Let's actually we'll just go over their website for a second. So there was a lot of ways for people to see this movie. Obviously, you had to pay it forward for the tickets, where people could get free tickets if they couldn't afford tickets themselves. Of course, seeing it in theaters. Perhaps you guys don't know the conspiracy that surrounds the movies. There's been a lot of people saying that there were fire alarms going off and they had to get evacuated. People were being refunded tickets, and there is a lot of complaints that came from one specific brand, is that the right word? Or cinema chain, AMC, out in America, whose CEO has ties to, how do we say, a former president, his wife, and a political cabinet that had some very dodgy links to other theories involving triangular sliced hot bread with cheese on it and a man on an island. Fucking hell, that is getting words out for the algorithm. My brother is very high up in the movie business. He works for a special effects team with movies like Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, yes. Oh, and the inner workings, of course. Do you not think it's a bit weird, though? And in fact, you can maybe come on at the end, Holden, when I post this link. Do you not think it's a bit strange? Because who mentions Hollywood in the movie? Like, they hint at it, but I mean, it's not like the whole movie is directly about Hollywood at all. Do you know what? We'd actually rebranded it as Past Offense. IQ or Cyber Initiative. We'd rebranded it as Past Offense. So that's what I'm talking about. No one mentions Hollywood. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. It's weird because it's almost like when someone's really guilty of something, right? It's like somebody's walked in a room and the guilty party's just stood up and started screaming that it's not me, it's not me, it's not me, before anyone said anything. Do you know what I mean? What about Oprah, Linda? What about Oprah indeed? Our very good friend Paula, who's in the side chat right now, has done a video this week. In fact, she had to redo her video this week because YouTube said no and just decided to erase it from the face of the earth. Don't come after me, algorithm. Do not come after me, YouTube. Everything is fine here, YouTube. Go and check out Paula's channel because she has covered the Oprah situation real well. And again, I'm not going to touch on Oprah because I don't want to go into things that I've not fully researched, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to hop back into the master suite bedroom here. It doesn't make sense as to why there's so much hate. Paula M channel. If I don't post a link, I will. One of the mods might. If one of the mods don't post a link, I will get you a link. I hope you guys like the streaming format as well. I know this flickering sign is flickering a bit fast, so I'm going to fix that this week and make sure it doesn't keep going so crazy. Let's switch rooms as well, just so it doesn't. Hang on a second. Is it this? Which is the one that doesn't have the flicker? Is it this one? Or it doesn't have as much flicker. We're not live every Tuesday either. All right. So I'm just going to bring up the next section of my rant here. So Hollywood, I think a lot of people, hang on, let me just move this. Okay, so I think a lot of people, when they think of Hollywood, they think of the films, they think of the actors they know. They don't really think outwards of that. And for people who believe the news, you're not bad people. You just, you're looking for answers and you've been told to trust the mainstream media. And, you might be thinking, well, I don't know about this film. I don't know if it's real. Well, let me put forward some things from the past, shall we say. Nickelodeon. We're going to look at Nickelodeon, okay? Because what we're talking about here is human transportation involving children. We're talking about glitz and glamour. And we're talking about an industry in America that everyone is pointing the finger at since this movie came out. And I really think that Dan Schneider is a fantastic example of an absolutely horrific, allegedly, individual who, I mean, don't get me wrong, right? As far as writing children's television went, as far as hang on a second. as far as writing kids' TV goes, he was at the top of his league. And when somebody at the top of their league suspiciously steps away from their position and just takes a settlement because of allegations that are being made, you know that something is going on there. And this is the individual who was in charge of shows like iCarly and all the rest of it. He had a foot fetish, a fairly public foot fetish. I'm not going to delve into your tweets, Schneider, because damn. But it's very odd that after receiving a promotion at Nickelodeon, the entire logo for Nickelodeon turned into a foot. Okay? Just to show you how dark and deep this one goes. There was episodes of iCarly where, you know, kids are pouring mayonnaise and ketchup and rubbing each other's feet. There was a lot of bizarre on screen. And this is the thing. When we've got bizarreness happening on screen, it really starts raising the questions as to what's going on behind the scenes. Now, allegations are allegations. But a lot of individuals who've come forward to speak about this, you know, I'm pretty sure the biggest one is Ariana Grande. There's a bit of footage of her when she was working with Schneider. And Schneider filmed everything. Like, he was a vlogger before vlogging. And there's a particular bit of video footage where he walks over to a very young Ariana Grande. And I think it's Ariana Grande. You can literally see her pulling her skirt down and her sleeves down. And it's horrid. It's horrid because it was a natural reaction for her. The Disney Channel and a lot of these kids' TVs have always had this overshadow of footage. Funny. These overlying shadows of creepiness involving some of the kids. But Schneider and Alexa Nichols, right, who has spoken out against Schneider a lot. She's also speaking out against Jonah Hill currently, saying that he forced his tongue down her throat when she was like 16 years old. She is also suing her ex for alleged abuse claims. She's on a roll for tidying up those who have wronged her. And the situation with Schneider, I strongly suggest you delve into this yourselves. There's been so much on this case on the internet being covered by YouTubers, and a lot of Alexa's story, she's went on podcasts and spoken about it. But when it comes to kids and it comes to a level of openness that you change a company logo, okay, a company logo to a foot, and you have kids on screen who are being sexualized. Now, Schneider went on to create a website for Nickelodeon. I think it was called Slap. And Slap was a way for the public to interact with the child stars. Oh. Was a way for you to interact with the child stars. And one second. And all of the young stars were on there, and it was a case of people would be able to ask questions, they would answer them through a forum, all the rest of it. It wasn't, connecting to their phones or anything like that. But Schneider would pre-record little snippets with the stars, and, there was one in particular, again, Ariana Grande, very young, lying on a bed with her head hanging over the bed, saying, do an upside down drinking challenge where she's pouring the water across her neck and chest and face. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. And it's one of those things that if you grew up watching those shows, looking back with, a more ripened mindset, a more mature mindset, educating, thank you very much, Esty, I really do appreciate that. And Hollywood is one thing. Hollywood is the crown jewel of that side of the club that works within the entertainment realm. But places like Nickelodeon and the Disney Channel, these are all under the same blanket. But what happens when it's less Hollywood, but it's still Hollywood? And what do I mean by that? Well, we're going to learn a little bit about the world of B movies. Okay. Former child actor reveals abuse in Hollywood. Two former child actors speak exclusively to Sky News about the abuse they suffered in the hands of Hollywood P words. Okay. Let's give this a listen. And the reason I'm showcasing this, right? Because again, this is kind of like, well, duh, it's nothing new. But you can forget that it's not just the multi-million-dollar budget movies. It's not just places where kids are at the center stage of it all. There's B movies. There's low productions. These things still need actors. They still need kid actors. They still need extras. So we're going to listen to this, and then we're going to have a little chat.
In the city where dreams are made, fame can come at a price.
If you'd asked me when I was 5 years old what I wanted to be when I grew up, it was I wanted to be famous.
The clowns, Randy, they're here.
Sure enough, by 11, Nathan was an actor in a low-budget horror. Its director, Victor Salva, was a friend of Nathan's mum.
His grooming process was developing my love and trust, and developing my parents' trust. The first time that I remember there being any kind of touching or abuse, I was staying the night at his house, his apartment, and we were watching movies, and one of the movies he put on to watch was Jungle Book. We got two bandanas and tied them together and made this loincloth, and as he's tying them, he's like fondling me, and that's like my first memory of when the abuse started, and eventually it progressed over the next 5 years. Videotape all of it. I mean, it was full blown.
When they found out, Nathan...
So, his mother is a prop maker, and this monster spent months befriending this boy's mother for the simple reason to gain their trust. And we've spoken about this countless times, about the word that begins with G that rhymes with vrooming, welcome to YouTube, doesn't just apply to vulnerable children, it applies to vulnerable adults. And, a lot of people don't think about the paths these individuals take in order to get access to kids. And one of the ways they do that is through, obviously, the parents, whether it's friendship or as a partner. It's horrific.
Nathan's family went to the police and Salva was convicted and jailed. But that hasn't affected his Hollywood career.
The neighbors talk about him like he's some kind of a phantom.
Powder, one of the scripts he wrote in prison, was distributed by Disney's Buena Vista Pictures.
I'm sorry, it was distributed by who? It was who?
Pictures. Distributed by Disney's Buena Vista Pictures. Distributed by Disney's Buena Vista Pictures.
Oh.
And he directed the Jeepers.
Wait a minute. Listen, I don't know who put this up on my screen, but you can't be telling me that Disney, the company that bought A Sound of Freedom and buried it, would take a script from a man who has went to jail for doing something very close to the subject matter of A Sound of Freedom. They wouldn't buy his script and make it a movie. Come on!
His Creepers franchise.
Oh, the Jeepers Creepers franchise? That's a big-ass movie. That's not a shoddy movie. That's a step-up movie. That's I done a crappy little horror film, went to jail for doing some rather horrific things to children, then got out of jail with a big old script and wrote a big smash hit movie series.
Happened here, happened before.
He's been coddled completely by certain members of Hollywood, and big names in Hollywood have been backing him and throughout the entire process. It just seems like there's like an exclusive club.
It does seem like there's an exclusive club.
And Victor's a part of that club. I've heard.
It seems, I'm not doubting it. I don't know what you guys feel, but we're only a minute and a half into this and already I'm triggered, okay? Because none of us are trained journalists, okay? I've done a bit of journalism, all right? But no formal training. And I can piece this together, all right? So there must be reporters and journalists in actual newsrooms who are being told they can't cover this, throwing up into waste paper bins in the corner.
Heard many stories of kids going to an agent who can control their career and put them into auditions. And so the agent's spending time alone with the child. They're able to sort of, unfortunately, get them away from parental supervision.
Now, what's very interesting is in The Sound of Freedom, one of the major moments in the film is when one of the main characters, who we'll just call Evil Bitch, goes to the father of these two young kids in the movie and says, hey, they should be models. Bring them to our studio. All this kind of stuff, creating this trust, and then they separate them from the parents. Now, whether it's a producer or an evil bitch, it's the same MO. It's just a different version of the recipe, if you know what I mean. It's using the G word that rhymes with vrooming to gain access to children for a horrific outcome. It's just these individuals in Hollywood, it tends to not so much go into the transportation in this instance.
Then they take advantage of these kids. And it's more common, I think, than we can even imagine.
Hollywood might not like talking about it, but it doesn't take a lot of digging to find even more examples of how it often has selective amnesia when it comes to some of the past behaviour of those it chooses to welcome into the fold. In 2004, actor Brian Peck was convicted of having sex with a child, but has since worked on the kids' show The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Oh, I'm sorry. It sounded a lot like she said that somebody who works on the set with children had done something horrific with children. That can't be right.
2004, actor Brian Peck was convicted of having sex with a child, but has since worked on the kids' show The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
That's a big show, I'm assuming. I mean, I've heard of it, and if I've heard of it and I don't watch kids' shows, I'm assuming it's a big show. So this is we're 2 minutes 20 in now, and we're on the second guy who has done something to children, okay, and then went to jail and then got a job working with kids in Hollywood. If this was Walmart, okay, all right, and you found out that the assistant manager of the frozen foods department in Walmart had went to jail for what these people had done, would you not make sure his ass was fired? I don't get what is going on.
Do you like the design?
3 words. Hid the us.
And anger management.
You got to realize how many studios may have protected people that they knew what they were doing wrong, you know.
Damn.
That knew it, should have got rid of them a long time ago.
Todd Bridges, who starred in one of the 70s biggest sitcoms, was molested by his publicist.
I'm one of the few children, that have, got rid of it and still around. Most of my proteges have died or they committed suicide or OD'd,
And that's another thing when we look. We might go down that road one day and looking into the aftermath of what Hollywood does to its child actors, because it's fairly horrific when you see the meltdowns and the midlife breakdowns, if they make it that far in so many cases.
Because they couldn't get over it and stuff that happened to them.
Corey Feldman and Corey Haim were two of the biggest child stars of the 80s.
Correct,
Both
Jones.
said they were abused by paedophiles during that time.
I know that there's thousands others that have experienced what I've experienced in the entertainment industry.
Did this guy ever tell us who it was? Like, whatever happened to this guy? Like, he was everywhere. Like, before lockdown, it was Corey. Did he ever, what happened with that? What's going on?
I also know that there's peers of mine who know exactly what I'm talking about and know all the details, but have been afraid to come forward with their own truths.
The Weinstein scandal has triggered a domino effect, with hundreds of people coming forward with allegations of abuse by other powerful figures. For decades, they were dismissed, discredited, and paid off. But will this be enough of a catalyst to finally force Hollywood to oust its abusers? Katie Spencer.
What do you guys think? It doesn't seem very likely when the abusers in this story all got pay bumps and new jobs. It's horrific. And again, this story centers around the low budget end of Hollywood. It's taken us away from the main glitz and the glitz and the glamour, the headlines, shall we say. And it's in an area where a lot of us don't really think to look, especially when we see things in the media. A lot of things get put out there simply because of how much traction the story can gain because of who it contains. And this is an interesting one, though. Anthony Rapp accused Kevin Spacey, who just got completely acquitted of all crimes, I might add, of assaulting him when he was 14. It's a bit mad. All right. Just sort that. Okay. So this isn't the first movie to tackle this subject matter. A lot of you will know An Open Secret, and a lot of you won't. So we're going to watch the trailer for this because this is one of the OG documentaries. We're talking banned, super banned, absolutely banned, buried by Hollywood. And it's on YouTube now, so you'll be able to go and watch it. But you need to source yourself away to see A Sound of Freedom. It's starting to get released globally now, I do believe, and I think a lot of people are going to have some sleepless nights when they look into those child actors' eyes in that movie. And there's one scene that really got me, and that was when the shipping container transporting these kids gets opened, and the human transporter guys, they react to the smell that's inside, and it just really hit home that these kids will just be thrown in the shipping container, a couple of empty buckets, some canisters of water, and hopefully they'll make it. It's pretty messed up. But we're going to watch the trailer just now, like I say, for An Open Secret. And this is like an OG documentary that outs Hollywood. Unless I've queued up the wrong trailer, which has happened before. But let's see.
I think every little kid dreams about being famous and being in movies.
This is California. This is where you make it. This is where it all starts.
You'll get signed by a label. You can star on Disney Channel. What kid wouldn't want that, right?
What kid wouldn't want that, indeed?
I remember you asked me if I ever did anything with a guy before. I was not interested at 12.
You're not recording this, right?
Looks like an angel. Hollywood doesn't have any system in place to protect anybody, and children are way down on that list.
Children need management just like everybody else.
Walk like an angel.
Everybody liked him.
He became part of the family.
In the beginning, it was happy, and then things started changing.
You talk like an angel. They pick on people who they know will be victims.
You have an adult who is manipulating the child.
Just getting, hired on the spot like that had never happened before.
It was obvious that something was going on.
The party made me feel uncomfortable. There were lots of drugs available, and there were young teenage boys.
I remember being scared.
He just told me this is what you have to do.
A number of boys told me to point the gun at them just like that.
He said, "Do you not understand the power I have?"
You're the devil in disguise.
I remember sitting in my room and crying my eyes out.
And he said, "What would you do? That happened to me."
A lot of investors completely denied that anything was going on.
Clearly, the studio didn't want an investigation.
I hated when you tried to have me sleep in your bed and touch me.
I don't know anything about that.
There will always be a steady stream of kids who want to be famous.
We're absolutely talking about the tip of an iceberg.
I highly suggest you go and spend some time this evening and ruin the rest of your weekend and watch that. Because I started a series on Hollywood called History Repeating. And that's what we're seeing here again and again and again. Somebody mentioned, was it Shirley Temple? You just have to look at Shirley Temple's early black and white movies, the over-sexualization of this young girl in mainstream cinema. The fact that a young girl has a cocktail named after her because, you know, they couldn't serve her alcohol, but she was certainly hanging out in bars. It's Hollywood sounds so much fun. Can you put that link in the Discord, Ron? Yes. Yeah, let me get the link for that full. Let me just fire up a Be Right Back screen here, and I'll get the link to the full documentary for everybody, and I'll fire it in here for you because it really is worth seeing. That's not a YouTube link. This looks a bit suspicious. What is this? Oh no, it is. That's fine. Okay, I don't know what this website is, so I'm going to put it in the Discord. Since it's not a YouTube link, and I don't know if this is a dodgy website, if that makes sense. With counterfeit materials, shall we say. So, what am I going to do? I'm going to put it in Discord. Okay. We don't need to do that right now. I'm going to have a quick smoke on my ciggy, and I'm going to see what you guys are saying in the side chat. Makes me stabby. Oh, that needs to be on a hoodie, if I'm being honest with you. Hollywood, it makes me feel a bit stabby. Yeah. Fucking brilliant. I think what I'm going to do as well is it's 10 o'clock. We've got about another 15 minutes or so. No. We've got up to about another half an hour. That was the deal that I've made, so we've got till 10:30. I'd quite like to start having a bit of an open discussion with everybody, because I remember growing up, and again, this is just testament to my age. I remember listening to radio at night, and it was like talk call-in radios, and it was fun. You know, listening to people putting their opinions across and all this kind of stuff. So let's see how dangerous that is to do. Generate a new link, copy that. Right, so I'm going to post a link in the side chat. If you'd like to come and join me on the stream, you can do so. But I'm probably just going to have your voice just in case anyone decides to whip their privates out, okay? And I know you're thinking to yourself, what do you take us for? I don't take all of you for absolute savages, but it's the fucking internet, mate. So I'm just looking now for something that I can use. Not a Rumble logo, mate. No. Oh, I'm going to fuck this up now. Right, hang on a sec. Just everyone, give me a minute. Just give me a minute. All right. All right. And then we need to look for something to put over this. That'll do. Nice. Oh, shit. Yeah, apologies you're having to wait, everybody. Just bear with me. All right, almost done. All right. Okay, so I'm going to post this link, and then anybody who wants to come and join me, you can do so, and we'll see what fucking mess this causes. All right, yes, if you want to come and join me, that would be fairly awesome. I don't know which channel your sound's going to be on, so we'll need to just see how badly I screw that up. But if you want to come on and tell me what you guys think about this whole situation, you will need to use words that aren't the naughty words. But hey, you know, we'll figure this out. We'll figure this out. And of course, if no one wants to join me, I'll just talk more shite, which I'm more than capable of doing. But The Sound of Freedom, Hollywood and various elements of the entertainment industry, not just in the UK or the US, sorry, it's prevalent all over the world. We've seen many cases in the UK surrounding the BBC, the ITV. There has been numerous. Now, I do believe there was a news reporter in America this was quite recently. I can't remember what station it was. ABC, is that right? Is it ABC? Yeah. Yeah, man, this is wild. Like, this is wild. Yeah, please, yeah, former ABC reporter. I mean, I know this guy's face. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, mad. I mean, proper thing of nightmares, this guy. I'm just trying to see if I can find... No, we're good. But, again... faces up to 40 years in prison. Oh, man. Wild. So, again, his name is James Gordon Meek. Is this a classic case of pointing the finger at somebody to put them away because you don't like the things they're saying? Is that what we're seeing? We'll find out in September. But wild. Again, absolutely wild. All right. Oh, wait, now we're trying to do this collab thing, aren't we? With the phone-in thing. Right, hang on. All right. Okay, I'm going to post the link again. If any of you guys want to come and join me, feel free to do so, and we'll have a quick chitty-chatty as we're winding down. But one thing you need to keep in the back of your head constantly when it comes to the global club, these are individuals are all part of the P-word club. There's no shortages of stories. There's no shortages of its presence in the highest levels of society and the lower levels of society. But there seems to be this upper tier level that isn't quite Rothschilds and NWO style elite level, but is political level and maybe fame within your own nation level, where we've seen a lot of individuals do horrific things. And in my talks with John Wedger, doing crime theory every week, the amount of corruption that goes on in the police, and when I say corruption, I mean at the highest levels, the people who are divvying up the money and deciding how everything is spent are creating systems where they're knowingly underfunding the departments who deal with child safety. A lot of you will think that's crazy, but it's the truth. I've heard it from a man who put his life on the line to whistleblow on it. And when you hear that and you start adding up cases like Jimmy Savile and Gary Glitter, individuals who got away with doing such horrific things to children, to adults, to vulnerable people across the board. I genuinely think that social media in the digital era is one thing that has stopped the blatantness of so many of these individuals, because they can't get away with it now. News travels way too fast, and it's just baffling to me just how history constantly seems to repeat itself, especially on this subject matter. Right, I'm going to dive in and see what you are all saying. I think parents push kids into fame. Kids don't know what's going on. I think in some cases, sure. You know, I'm sure there's some kids that want to be famous, but you know that there's a huge portion of them that have been 100% shoved into it by their parents. It's the same vibes as you get with the pageantry scene in America, if you know what I mean. You know, pushy child actor parents. It's almost like living through your children, if that makes sense. But again, I'm not saying that in all cases, because you got to remember, in amongst all of this horrificness, there is good people. There is good people who want to do good things, and it's sad that we all want to do so much for our kids. We want to do what makes them happy, and we want to see their dreams come true. And many parents are just naive and oblivious to the realities of this. They are completely so far from where all of us are on being educated on this that they're doomed from the first mindset. You know? It's like safeguarding doesn't exist from a certain tax bracket upwards. That's evil. That's interesting. They certainly don't care about children. And, you know, I used to have this little seed of doubt in my head about the structure of the police and the government, because you would think that if it was so widespread within all of these facilities that something would be done about it, or we'd know about it. But again, it's an open secret that if you want to open your mouth about, you're probably going to end up in a hole. You know, I remember John telling me about a case where he was told that this reporter has to go, like he has to go down, and that's what, you know, the evidence is going to be made to do. And luckily, John made sure that didn't happen. It's crazy. It really is a crazy subject, and there's too many. Hang on a second. There's too many cases now. Every decade and the decades before them have the same cases. And another thing that John talks about is procurers of children. And he goes into a lot of serial killer cases where, sure, these individuals have gone away, they've maybe killed some kids and maybe killed some adults. But then there's another 200 or 300 missing people in surrounding areas for where these people have lived and been, and where other bodies have turned up. And then we go into the mad theory of, if there is this club and they need people to procure for, you know, transportation, kids, because you got to remember there's different types of human transportation on this subject, whether it's parents transporting their kids and things happening to the kids that don't have physical marks, so the schools don't find out about it. And then you've got kids that sadly never get found because the things that happen to them, they're not going to survive. And it's usually it's kids that are transported because they're gone. You know, they're not in their home country. They are gone. Wow. I saw reported that every American House Democrat refused free tickets. It's crazy. It really is crazy. Next, John Wedger's every Thursday on the Sean Atwood channel. John and I have got a little project that we're working on as well for this channel. At some point, it's not even started yet, but we've been battering the idea of discussing a case involving a guy who was known by John and Sean that ended up trying to liberate a child and ended up going to jail for a substantial amount of time. And he was liberating this child from what he said was, how can I put this, devil style ritual of horrible things. YouTube. And it's kind of baffling. is kind of baffling, because the individual that we're talking about here was a lawyer with no criminal past and a ton of evidence to support what he was doing. Look at the man on the island. I don't even know if you're allowed to talk about. I mean, I suppose we could do like a well marketed show that is mainly talking about conspiracies, right? And then we might be able to discuss the man on the island. Do you know what I mean? If we're selling it as a conspiracy show. But man, you got to watch what you're talking about now, man. You got to watch, because things are spicy in the YouTube realm. They really, really are. Anybody else got some questions? Oh, I tried. I don't have a cam. Okay, yeah, we'll figure all this out. We'll get this whole phone-in thing working. Just arrived at work. Got to go, but listening in the background. Oh, well, you have a fantastic evening. Have a fantastic evening. I'm going to hang about on this page for a few minutes. I'm going to post a link one more time. Wait, we have got a collab cam person. We've got Arkman. What is happening, my G? Right, let me see if I've broken this, Arkman. Let's see. All right, can you hear me? I cannot hear you, Arkman. Is that? Oh yeah, I can hear you now. Oh, what is happening, my G?
Good.
Do you want me to keep your camera off, or do you want me to?
Yeah,
keep it off. That's fine. So what's your take on all this?
It's a fuck one.
It's a what?
It's pretty.
Yeah, it really is. It's really, really fucked up, mate. I mean, it's horrific. And elaborate a little more for us, Arkman. Take us down a little bit more of a road of it's fucked. I think we know it's fucked, but what elements of this? I mean, do you agree with me that it's history repeating? Like, where do you stand on all of this?
It's history repeating, and people back about making sure that it doesn't get out.
Yeah, there's a massive cover-up. I agree too, Arkman. You have got a little bit of a reverb, right? A little bit of an echo going on, right? So I'm going to see if I can. I'm going to see.
Do you hear me now?
You might just need to speak a little bit louder. People say Mel Gibson is a psycho, but I think he tells the truth. Mel Gibson probably is a bit of a psycho. It's all right if you're a psychopath. You're still allowed to hate on people that do those things to kids. But yeah, I mean, Mel Gibson's had a couple of really rough takes in his life. But again, it's not something that we can turn away from.
No, we can't.
We can't at all. And it's, again, one of these frustrating things, because we've always covered this subject, whether it was with this channel or the previous channel. But now I'm having to think before I speak. It's difficult, because we can't report on things the way we used to. And for me, we're going to create this entire generation who view and get their news from YouTube, who get educated on subject matter like this, and the whole situation feels dumbed down to me. When we're referring to people's trauma and people's horrific moments, by referring to it as an R word, I feel like it does a disservice to the victims, because I feel like we're diluting the subject matter, and I don't think that is right. Does that make sense? Do people understand that?
That makes sense.
I mean, fair enough. If YouTube was to put like a watershed, you might want to wait until after 9 o'clock to talk about these things and use those words. Fair dues. I mean, that's kind of what it's like on television here. But it's very interesting how mainstream media coverage and independent media coverage like ourselves have two different sets of rules here for things.
That probably wouldn't work, because some of the deals that they have with other companies would infringe upon.
Oh yeah, of course. I think a lot of the time as well, people don't want to get sued, and there's a lot of people who spout a lot of things without double checking their facts. So before we move on, Arkman, is there anything else you want to tell the people?
No, be good. Just be good and try to do good.
Yeah,
love each other.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
Being nice is cool. All right. Just remember that, kids. Being nice is fucking cool. All right, and that's the way it goes. So, Arkman, thank you for joining me, and we'll undoubtedly speak to you again one day. And really,
maybe through Discord.
I appreciate it. Yeah. All right. So if anyone else wants to come and join me, feel free to do so. Our last little moment of call-ins, if any of you want to come in and have a little chit-chat. But again, we'll be back next week as well. Also, we're back tomorrow. I'm streaming a whole bunch of times. I'm streaming in the morning on Twitch. You'll get all the links for everything on projectrook.com. The link is in the description. Come join the Discord. If you're going to be looking for subject matter like this on Twitch, we have an open discussion. Oh, sorry, I was just reading the chat. We have a pretty open discussion there. Lots of different topics. I play some games. We're probably going to open up some pieces of cardboard, you know, trading cards and stuff like that. It's fucking sad as fuck, but I can't stop myself. I really can't. I've got a real fucking problem. A real problem with these pieces of cardboard right now. Like, 41 years old and I've got to catch them all, if you know what I'm saying. So, join us for that. And then later in the evening, we are streaming with Serial Sundays. We've got the pre-show here, and then we'll be doing the main show over on the Phil Chalmers channel. We have got Delmas Colvin live, convicted serial killer live from prison for an interview. So if any of you want to get some questions ready for that, let us know. Phil and I have got some awesome projects in the works. Patreon stuff, YouTube stuff, all the rest. And new merch for here is coming. There was a couple of people asked over the last few weeks about that. So there's some new bits coming. I just don't want them to be shit. So I've been spending some time on them. And that's that. So, Deanne, thank you for that. And you're right. Oh, you are just adorable, you Missy. You really are. Cutie pie. So it's this light is making me look shiner. So we will be getting into some longer streams as well. I know a lot of you prefer the big long fests. I'm just making sure I can manage everything I'm doing. And oh, what the hell just happened? New subscriber, welcome. So what else? I don't know. The main point of this, Hollywood, entertainment industry, this is not a new subject. The subject of this movie is not a new subject. This style of movie isn't even a new subject. This is Hollywood indirectly linking itself to A Sound of Freedom. Mel Gibson coming out and putting forward his two cents on the thing, and his previous interviews just resonating his point from 25 years ago. Still prevalent today. Still prevalent in the previous cases that we've looked at, whether it's A-lister or B-movie. This problem is there. Whether it's kids' TV, whether it's kids in movies. I mean, I feel like I'm fucking... Like, what is... I feel like I've said this so many times that I'm boring myself of hearing it. Like, it's so frustrating that everything that we'd done before is gone. I'm trying something to get it all back. But I think a lot of you who've been here for years are going to be a bit sick and tired over the next few weeks, because I do feel like I need to go over a lot of things. Yeah. That's definitely a copyright piece of fucking music, and that sampled music there. So I do feel like we need to reiterate it. I feel like the fact that terminology was used in that film, one of the phrases is chicken, right? How many chickens do you want me to get for you? We all know those terms from the FBI list of known words for child transportation. From the past offense conspiracy. We know that. It's sad that the one topic that there seems to be pushback on from Hollywood, from the biggest news distribution centers around the world, is what keeps happening to children in the hands of elites in the hands of Hollywood, in the hands of the music industry? Why do children keep going missing, and why do they come back traumatized over and over? Because until the truth comes out and until this is blown up in the water, people go to jail, and this is the scandal of the millennium. Nothing's going to change. And I'd like to just refer you back to what Hollywood is for you. And I'd like you to think about if Schneider or any of these individuals who go to jail for abusing children, who then come out with successful careers. Do you know anywhere else in the world that a child R-worder would be given a job doing anything? Because it seems to me that if you can put pen to paper and put a story together, you've got a license to do whatever you want. And in some cases, you've got a license to do whatever you want, and that job will entitle you to little perks, like working on set with children, hand-picking children for their fame, and being able to manipulate those young minds. Schneider and his friends, they used to have pool parties. Pool parties where, you know, girls, if you don't wear your two-piece at the pool, you're never going to make it in this town. It's mad. So yeah, I think we're just going to leave it there for tonight, because I can feel myself about to go off on one. And we can't be doing that. We're going to keep our composure. But certainly come and join us tomorrow. Go and check out the homepage of this channel. In fact, let me just pull it up, because bit of self-promo. Why not? Internet Horrors is starting very soon, by the way. End of the summer. It's going to ruin the end of the year for everybody. So that's fun. All right, so if you guys jump over to... There's two things I'm going to show you. We've got, obviously, the channel that you're on just now. But if you scroll down here, you'll see all the content that I'm doing on Sean's channel, on Phil's channel, and on this channel. A Royal Mess, Darkest Net, and Crime Theory. All the episodes are there. You'll be able to jump right into it all. And also on projectrook.com, you'll be able to find everything there as well. And, you know, just thank you to everybody for coming and joining us. The streams on a Friday will be a little bit longer moving forward, but they'll be starting probably a little bit earlier. 10:30, 11 is always going to sort of be our finishing point, but I'm happy to start earlier for those who've sort of been saying that they want longer shows. So I was thinking, I'm quite happy to have a main subject for those who want to come. So for example, the main subject would have been how we presented it tonight, and then maybe follow on with some conspiracy stuff, or looking at some things that apply to the main topic that are a little bit more theory based, if you will. And we can have a little look. Email, yeah, email is, if you join the Discord, we'll sort you out with some emails on the Discord, my man. If not, just check the website and you'll get a link there. So, thank you everyone for joining me. Thank you everybody for your support. Thank you everybody on Discord. Tomorrow I'll be on Discord in the morning doing voice chats, and then we'll be going on Twitch. We'll be doing some gaming, and I've got a very, very, very nice box of Japanese Wars Schwoots Marvel TCG cards from Japan that I got. I've got a real problem. A bunch of graded cards have arrived. 3 boxed prototype Boba Fett figures from last year in mint condition have arrived. They were like a special release. Yeah, there's a lot of nerd shit to talk about tomorrow. So join us on Twitch. If not, I will see you what day? Thursday for Wedger. And we'll maybe try a midweek special over the next few weeks. I feel like possibly doing a wee midweek week special. I feel like maybe that's different. We can change history. Do you know, there's never been a better time for that to happen. All right, Jode. But the problem is we're never ever all going to be on the same page. We've sort of, as a race, we've sort of we've sort of fucked ourselves past resolution, okay? There's 9 billion of us. We're not all going to agree on something, even when that subject matter is, should we keep kids safe? Welcome to the human condition. It's fucking wild. But I would love to be able to do more. And I can't wait to see you all back here next week. I think I will do a midweek stream this week, so stay tuned. Even if we just hang out for a little while and do some chitty chats. But there's some big project announcements coming, some stuff that needs tied off from last year, and there's just a lot in the works. The daytimes are very busy getting things done for other channels, and it's balanced out a little bit now, and I'm looking forward to being able to do more for you guys. Me and Dan, we're going away this month for a couple of days as well, so there's a good chance I might do some Instagram streams of us at arcades acting like big kids. And yeah, I love you guys. Thank you to my mod team. Why are we listening to an advert playing? There we go. Thank you to my mod team. Thank you to the Discord mods. Thank you to the whole community. Everybody, I appreciate every single one of you. And yeah. Oh, I'm not clashing too much with Sean. I think it's Phil's channel tomorrow night. I think we're just past the cutoff. I'll check though, Reggie. But now we should have a good balance. But listen, come and join me there tomorrow. I love you guys. Thank you very, very much. And let me know your thoughts on this whole live stream. Again, I know you guys want me going off on rants. I know you want me losing my shit. We're maybe going to have to try kick. I think what we might have to try and do, I'm trying to figure out. We do have our own streaming platform on our website, right? Now the problem is with the live chat facility for that. So I'm trying to integrate Discord as the live chat, so that if you want to come and talk on the stream on the website, you have to be part of the Discord, so that if people start typing mad shit into the chat, I can control it, obviously. And it's been a bit fiddly. I think I've got it now though. But we're definitely going to have to do after chats on the website where I can go off on one, because I don't like this reduced, toned down version. Yes, Jay-Z. Do you know what's interesting, Jay-Z? Is it's going to be real interesting if Ballard brings out all those fucking young adults now who were transported, who've had heinous things done to them, and all of those journalists are going to have to call them fucking liars. Do you think that's going to be the case? No. I think we're going to have some public statements being made about rogue journalists whose opinions do not reflect those of the company they work for. Yeah, Rumble. Rumble would be good too. Yeah. I need to check out. There's something to do with streaming on Rumble. So I think the thing... Yeah, we'll figure it out. Right? It was either going to be Rumble or Kick. It's either going to be one of those two. And Kick's got a lot happening on it right now. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of at the cusp, whereas Rumble's sort of got the UFC tied in with them now, and a bunch of big heavy hitters. And there is, but we'll try both. Okay, we'll try both, because I'm down with that. Yeah, but Jay-Z smashed that as a final comment. I mean, yeah, I agree. So listen, thank you for your super chats, thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and I will see you guys in the next one.
Put a glass box around her and she'll break the glass. If you try to cage her in, she'll light the match. Oh, she's like an animal, it's in her blood. She'll turn every chain into dust, into dust. Into dust. Like the wind is free, like the water's deep. She's a burning rush. If you try to take what is in
Hey guys, this is Andre once again from Trap Nation. Hope you're all having an incredible